Hi, I want to talk about the importance of rest for women. I saw a quote the other day that said, "Exhausted women are easier to control. Rested women piss off the patriarchy." And then it said, "Go and have a nap." And this is so true, and I wanted to elaborate on this and my thoughts about this. It is well known that it's easier to control people who are not rested and who are mentally, emotionally, and physically tired and exhausted. You might have heard about the different ways that cult leaders control the people that are members of the cult by exhausting them mentally, physically, and emotionally. And this also happens in abusive relationships and narcissistic abuse. I would like to suggest that this happens on a societal scale to women, although it's not as targeted or intentional, although in some cases it can be. We all know that women in general have less downtime and less time to rest, especially women with children, but not only. And women make up the majority of people with exhaustion symptoms. And there is a lot of research done and books written on how women bear most of the unpaid work while also having jobs. And not only that, women take on a lot more responsibilities at our workplaces that take up time and energy, but are not always rewarded. And we are often expected to say yes to these extra tasks. And there is actually a book written about this called The No Club that I've got here. And it's called The No Club, Putting a Stop to Women's Dead-End Work. And it's written by 4 women who found that this was true in their own work lives and their careers, and they decided to investigate that further. So to rest is a form of rebellion against all of this. Women with a balanced nervous system are hard to control. Women who have stopped fawning and people-pleasing, who tend to their own needs and well-being first and foremost, cannot be exploited easily. I want to be a part of a movement and culture of women who make resting and tending to ourselves first and foremost a priority. Let's aim to be women who say no without guilt, who disappoint people's expectations of us without feeling bad. And as we give from overflow and love, not obligation. And I know that this might sound easier said than done, and it probably is, but it's just an ambition and something we can aim towards. It's not something that we can change overnight, because we also have to have compassion with ourselves and why we have developed these ways of coping in the world. But this is your life. And you are here to live it on your terms, no one else's. So let's come back to resting. What do I even mean by resting? There are different kinds of rest. There's physical rest, emotional, and mental rest. And these are the main types that I want to talk about. So physical rest can be, of course, just lying down or sitting down, resting your body. And sleeping or taking a nap are some of the most deep forms of physical rest. and mental rest. And mental and emotional rest can look like taking a walk in nature or exercising, listening to calm music or just music that you like, or a guided meditation, meditating or reading something that makes us feel calm, doing our favorite creative activity or some activity that makes us feel joyful and gives us energy, having a drink with girlfriends or taking a walk with a friend. And the last form, two forms, which is social, is more of a emotional rest, since we often process emotions by talking to friends about them. And all of these can be forms of rest. And of course, by getting enough sleep and getting good sleep, that is one of the most deep forms of rest for both our minds and our bodies. And meditation is a deep form of rest for our minds and emotions, and can release stress from our bodies. And the key is that anything that makes you feel relaxed, more at ease, and more like you have come back to yourself is what I'm talking about here. It can look different for different people. A good friend of mine sometimes says after stressful periods that I have to bring myself back home now. And that's what I want us to do over and over and over, to bring ourselves back home to ourselves, to find a safe space within and with ourselves where we can rest our souls. Because a woman who is at peace, who lets herself rest and who is relaxed and at ease, is someone who cannot be controlled easily. And I also have created a guided meditation, especially for helping you to allow yourself to rest. And there is a link below where you can find that meditation. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you soon. Bye.